Breaking right now as well, the White House has ordered a freeze of several federal aid programs, including federal grants and loans, which could impact millions of Americans. According to a memo sent by the White House, the freeze on federal assistance is slated to take effect at 5 p.m. That memo specifies that the pause is not going to affect Social Security or Medicare benefits, nor does it include assistance provided directly to individuals. And President Trump has signed a flurry of new executive orders ushering in big changes for the U.S. military. He is also reporting some progress in finding a new buyer for the social media app TikTok, with growing concerns about U.S. tech dominance. Doug Luzader has more this morning from Washington.
Well, President Trump is back at the White House now after attending a strategy session with Republican lawmakers, but he is still making change after change on his own.
Right there. Brother Kadash giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. See, this is stuff that I actually like to report on. You know, my thing in the Bible, you know, there's different offices and there's different abilities that brothers have, and there's different I'm trying to figure out the word, like different things that is special about different brothers, right? So my whole thing is prophecy. That's what it's all about for me. Prophecy. Some brothers get caught up on, like, see me, I never got caught up on the stuff where anybody could just believe what they want to believe. You see what I'm saying? And you can look at it from your perspective. I don't really get caught up in that stuff. And then, like, even before I got into truth and I was in the world, it was the same thing. I never got caught up in the competition of remember when Jakes was competing with who had certain type of jeans. First it was shoes, then it was about jeans, then it was about brand clothing. I never got caught up in that shit. I never got caught up in even like just having competition with my brothers, or how do you look at things and stuff like that. So what was special about me, like, and I'm just giving you a little bit backstory, what was special about me, even before I came into truth, I always could figure out what was the bottom line. You know, in the world, the bottom line was you got to make money in order to do basically everything. You see what I'm saying? That was the worldly things. But then when I got into truth, I started searching, what is this all about and what is the bottom line here? And what I found out is the prophecy. See, brothers like to argue about whether the Lord's name is Yeshua, Yahweh Shai. Brothers is arguing about a pronunciation. We don't know the pronunciation. The Lord's going to come back and correct us. It's not about if you saying it exact. And then even if we had 1 million Israelites and the Lord gave us, and the Lord said his name, the Lord stood on the top of a mountain and said his name, you still not going to get everybody, all 1 million of those Israelites, to pronounce it and say it the exact same way, because you got different tribes with different tones, with different assets, with different ways of saying it. We saying the same thing, but somebody, it's just like the difference between saying door or dough, floor or flow. So I never got caught up in those things. And then as far as like, well, is the Lord 3 different persons but in one nature? Is the Lord, is it Yahweh and Yahweh Shai? Is it just Yahweh? I never got caught up in those things. The whole point is you believe in a higher power, right? You believe in, and if you really want to get technical, you would say just a tetragram, you would say you believe in Yahweh, right? But you would break that down to YHWH. You would say I believe in YHWH. But at the end of the day, you believe in the Lord, right? And then a person could say, well, you could believe in any Lord and believe in the wrong Lord. You believe in the Lord of the Bible, right? And that's what it's going to come down to. You know what I mean? Now, whether you interpreting that wrong, there's going to be a time of correction where the Lord is going to reveal himself and he's going to correct. Just like the Israelites when they came out of Egypt and they were in the wilderness, that was a time of correction. They had to be corrected with many things. That's why they were given the laws. You see what I'm saying? Then when you're given these things directly from the Lord, again, if you rebel, then you're going to be dealt with. Then you're going to be cast out for rebelling. then. As of right now, we just got what we got. The Lord said, hold fast, hold your crowns, right? Hold fast to that what you got, roughly paraphrase it. And then when the Lord come back, he's going to make the corrections for all that stuff. So me, I just look for the prophecies of the Lord coming back and how it's all going to go down. So some of the things that's been happening, you know, DJT, you know, he's been on a roll. He's been on a complete roll, you know. Now, I believe a judge had fought against the freeze that he did, right? And this freeze, right, on grants and loans and on like, it was like government funding, right, which would lead to people losing possibly food stamps, housing, Section 8. Food stamps is also linked, you know, which would completely devastate people. But I think it'll actually be a good thing. So some of the things he's coming with is like, I gotta agree with him. These are good things, you know what I mean? But even if they blocked it, don't mean that he ain't gonna try again. And he's talking about getting rid of taxes, income taxes. Now, if you get rid of income tax, what does income tax pay for? If you get rid of income tax, you know, you got to get rid of a lot of federal workers, because like judges, police and stuff like that, because they paychecks are based off federal tax. You get rid of federal income tax, you got to get rid of link and food stamps and housing and Section 8, because those things are paid for by taxpayers, federal income tax. So he's shaking the place up, but I actually think that it'd be a good thing. You know, if you get rid of just, you know, I know people that's living, they got housing or Section 8 and they paying $150, $300 a month for rent. And they probably get $500, $800 in cash assistance from the government. And they get another $500, $800 in link and food every month. And then fuck around and probably be selling a portion of that to make even more money. But the internet and the pride of the people, you get rid of that and people got to get back out here and work. First thing it's going to do is bring people pride down, put people in a place. And it's going to force people to actually work together, because now you got to work your way up in the ranks. You can't just live off the government. You got to go out there and get a job. You got to know how to deal with people. You got to know how to speak. You got to know how to talk. You got to know how to conduct yourself. You got to know how to make rational, hard decisions. You see, critical thinking. You got to develop those traits, because then you actually have to get out there and work and do something. You see what I'm saying? So that, I think that'll actually be a good thing. And another thing that he was coming with is the death penalty. I actually have to say I agree. You know, let me put it this way. When you go out there, like, you know, these kids be out here hitting drive-by. That's like the most famous thing, and I think it came from the mafia. The most famous thing today is a drive-by. Either you drive by, shoot somebody's car up, or you see them out somewhere and you drive by and shoot them. If you could get in a car with an assault rifle and shoot 30, 40, 50 shots at somebody and kill them, then you don't need to be on the streets, man. Just over petty shit, you don't need to be on the streets. I just had a friend, so like I've been having to take some time to get my mind right, because I just had a friend that just got murdered, you know, and I grew up with him. He was actually the preacher's son. And you know, just a little backstory, like, you know, pretty much they caught him in a car with a female, right? And it was like 50 shots that they let off and killed him, and he was shielding the female. This happened maybe not even a month ago. You know what I mean? So it's been very hard on me, you know, because he's still an Israelite. And he was one of those guys that was loved by the community. So people were scratching their heads like, why would somebody want to do this to him when, you know, he wasn't a gang banger or nothing like that? But, you know, and then the other thing about Trump coming with the death penalty, he's saying that, you know, it ain't no 2-year wait list and you finally die and you can fight it. He talking about, you know, you do something like that, the next week you might be gone, or next month you out of there, you gone. And I guarantee, if he come with that, I guarantee that shit will slow down the senseless, the irrational, the just stupid murders, random murders, kids. That'll slow their asses down when they see a couple examples of you pulling that trigger, killing somebody. I mean, these dudes will shoot up a car. A baby could be in a car. They don't care. A woman, like my friend, he got killed and his baby mama was in the car and he shielded her. She got shot too, but she survived because he shielded her, and that's the only reason why she survived it. These dudes don't care. They'll shoot up the car, pull up 2 rifles, let off 50 shots, and don't care who in the car. These people are fucking animals. They zombies. They should not be. They're murderers. They should not be on the streets, man. So I actually agree with that. You know what I mean? And that's how, especially when you go to the laws that the Lord gave us, that's how it works, man. Do not kill. You do something like that, yes, your life could be on the line for you to be murdered, for you to be stoned in ancient days. You know, so without the punishment part of the law, you have nothing. And I was talking to a brother about this, and he broke it down, which it was something I knew. It's just, you know, you got to brush up kind of on things. Sometimes when you go through things, it's not right on your mind, right? But yeah, you know, there's like a court system you have to go through. Something happens, you know, you got to go to the elders or the judges, and they make a judgment on it, right? And then something happens. But even with that being said, you know, brothers is still saying you have to keep the law of Moses, which this is a whole nother topic. I ain't gonna get into it, but you can't keep the law without the punishment aspect of it. You can't keep it. You have to have just like with the Shia law in Saudi Arabia. Without that law and the punishment part of the Shia law that everybody is like afraid of because they say it's so harsh, you can't keep the rest of it without the punishment. You have to have a punishment to it, right? So just like in you say Dubai and Saudi Arabia, they say, you know, it's barely any crime. Well, it's barely any crime because of the punishment for a crime is so stiff. Like just like in China, you know, the punishment for the crime is so harsh that people think twice and they avoid it at all costs. You gotta have a strict punishment for the crime, man. If you want to clean up the so-called black community, the Judites, the Israelites, right, you have to have punishment. When the Lord comes to clean us up, right, he brings us to the wilderness. Is there going to be punishment? Yes. The Lord said he going to bring us under the rod. You right? The Lord said that he going to purge out the rebels. That means that there's going to be punishment there. You know what I mean? For us to get that correction. The Lord ain't gonna be playing when he come back, and that's the prophecies that I'm talking about, right? The Lord, when he come back, he not gonna be bullshitting around, man. People gonna be getting sent back to the spiritual realm, the spirit world. You know what I mean? You buck up against the Lord. You say you want to argue about doctrinal difference. Guess what? You back in the spiritual world. You want to rebel against the Lord. Guess what? You back in the spiritual world. So brothers got to get that together, and they have to get that attitude. And you cannot. I'm telling you, man. I'm speaking from, you know, from the spirit with this, bro. The pride shit got to go. Like when I talk to a brother, ain't no pride. You could right off the bat, you could tell ain't no pride there with me. Cause I'm gonna let you get your shit off. If you bring up a good point, I'm gonna say it. Cause you my brother. I don't want to make you look stupid. I don't want to make you look dumb. I don't want to make you look like you ain't got no knowledge. You my brother, you my people, you my blood. I want you to shine. I want you to look good. Now, if we got doctrinal difference, we can sit down and we can talk about it, but I'm not trying to make you look like no fool. You my brother, you a Judite. You see what I'm saying? So I'm looking at my brothers like you worth something, not like you worth nothing, like you just piece of shit. I don't want to make you look stupid. You know what I mean? I want you to get yourself. So if you bring up a good point and you do something good, I don't have that much pride to say, hey, that was good. You broke that down. Hey, I'm going to give it up. You see what I'm saying? Because if you win, I win. We the same people. We the same blood. We got the same grandfathers, the same forefathers. So, but it's guys, especially in this truth, that have a lot of pride, and it goes from doctrine. Hey, this is the right way, and if you don't look at it the way we look at it, fuck you. You ain't one of us. You see what I'm saying? And that's the wrong spirit to have, because when the Lord come back, and if you wrong on something, are you gonna bow down when all you've been doing for the last 10, 20 years is just saying it's this or nothing? So when the Lord come back and say, no, you was wrong on this, then what? A lot of guys gonna be guilty. A lot of guys are gonna rebel because of what they elders said or what they been teaching, and the Lord telling them that it's wrong. And a lot of guys ain't gonna be able to take it when they're hit when they hit with the truth. They ain't gonna be able to take it. Nah, it gotta be this, it gotta be that. Nah, when the Lord telling you, no, this is what it is. So me with my spirit is more of, you know, hey, I got a belief of what I believe it is, but when the Lord come back, whatever that power, when that power comes back, whatever that power says it is, that's what I'm getting down with. That's what it is. I could been 50% right on shit and 50% wrong on shit, and the shit that I'm 50% wrong on, when the Lord come back and correct us, that's what it is. The Lord said it's this way, that's the way we doing it. That's the type of spirit you gotta have, man. We like a whole bunch of kids running around think we know something. This group think they know this group think they know this group think they know that and know this and know that. Man, you got to think about the level that we still on, man. It's nothing compared to the Lord's level and the angels level. So really, you got to wait. And some brothers think like what you doing right now is going to determine, like your actions and what you're doing right now is going to determine if you get to the kingdom. It may play a part in it, and your faith gonna play a part in it too, but ultimately it comes down to the Lord, because like you got guys that gonna come in at the last hour and be saved. You got guys that made a certain mistake and the Lord not gonna forgive them, but then you got another Judite that made that same mistake and the Lord did forgive him. So it's gonna come down to what the Lord sees in you. And me, I believe it's gonna come down to, you know, your faith in the Lord, which you could say your worship of the Lord and your faith of the Lord. Or are you going to be corrected? Or are you going to go along with what the Lord is saying when the Lord comes back? Or are you going to go against it? Or are you going to rebel? That's going to determine if you're a part of the sheep or you a part of the goats. You going to be on the right hand or you going to be on the left hand, like it says in, I believe, Matthew 25. That's going to determine that. And you got to make the choice of what side you want to be on. So you got to get your spirit right so the Lord can use you. You know, if you're an old bottle or you a closed book, the Lord ain't going to come to use you. You know, you got to be ready and you got to have your spirit. So what type of spirit you got to check that spirit that you got and make sure it's right, you know. So it's been a lot of different news, and we're going to come back with some more different news of things that's happening. I believe 2025 is going to be a lot of different things going to be happening. I mean, we just getting into their year, right? But and it's already so much that it has already happened in January. Now when we get into our year after March, right, which we do got the Passover coming up very soon, and like we say every year, this could be the last Passover. So this, I feel like this Passover going to be very important. And I don't know if everything's going to end this year, but it's going to be some major things that's going to happen this year. Yeah, I believe like even bigger than last year. You know, this year starting off with a lot of death already, you know. So keep your eyes open, you know, do what you got to do to live. Try to follow the Lord to the best of your abilities. Be prepared to give it all up and follow the signs that the Lord is giving you. With that, I'm going to say salvation to the elect. Shalom.